Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a lovely day so far. In today's video I am going to be doing the eyeshadow palette bingo challenge with the Ocean Jewel eyeshadow palette. If you haven't seen any of my bingo videos before, I need to make a playlist. These videos are so fun. If I remember, I will leave it linked. But I take an eyeshadow palette, I completely randomise all of the shades, I pick 5, and then I try and come up with some sort of eyeshadow look. And a lot of the time, not all of the time because I forget, but a lot of the time I do these in conjunction with my lovely friend Cole. So we both post these at the same time. Hers will be up on her channel now as well. We both do the same thing. We both try and come up with some sort of eyeshadow look, and quite often one of us will get an awful look and one of us will get a really good look. So fingers crossed, because I have some other things that I want to film today, fingers crossed that this turns out well. Let's just wait and see. So like I say, this is the Bella Beaute Bar Ocean Jewel eyeshadow palette, and I just find this colour story so inspiring. I absolutely love this colour story. I think that it is incredible. I have really been enjoying using this. I already have a full first impression swatches try on. I will leave that one linked, but today we are randomising. We're picking 5 and we're coming up with an eyeshadow look. If you like these bingo videos, don't forget to give this one a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I post 3 times a week, on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday. It's always cruelty free, it's usually affordable, but this eyeshadow palette was a little bit spenny. It's fine, I think it's worth it. So this is the wheel that I use. What did I just do then? This is the wheel that I use with all of the names of the shades in. And like I say, we're going to pick 5 and come up with an eyeshadow look. So let's pick shade number 1, which is Submerged. I have already used this one. I used this one in my first impression. It's the very dark matte sort of purpley blue. I will swatch these as I go along so that we can see what colour story we are working with for today's look. At least, you know, so far so good. We're not going to have an all shimmer look. I was worried about that. I was worried I was just going to pick 5 like multi-chromes, you know? So that is the first shade. Very dark, but beautiful. Then shade number 2 is Jellyfish. Okay, I haven't used this one. This is the matte blue with the little sparkles in. You can see it more when it's swatched, those little sparkles. Let me just build this up a little bit. So far we have got a very dark smoky look. That is scary. That is scary. I hope I get, I mean, what I really want to get is like a nice mid-tone, one of these lighter ones, and then a shimmer. That's not what I'm gonna get because that never works out that way, but let's pick shade number 3, which is Oyster. Okay, so this is the shimmer. This is a beautiful lilac-y, bluey, sort of periwinkle lilac. Oh, so pretty. These are so like foily. Oh, look at the reflect on that. So pretty. Okay, I am happy. Now if I could get like a mid-toned matte and one of those neon light shades. Let's see. Sea glass. Okay. I feel like this look is just going to look exactly the same as my first impression. So this is the matte mint green, sort of a sea glass colour, you know. The name is appropriate. I love that with the purple. Okay. Okay, so lastly, shade number 5. Keep your fingers crossed for me. What is it? Shark's Eye. Oh, okay, so it's a very, very dark shimmer. Dark blue shimmer. Okay. So, that's the colour story that we're working with. How do I feel about this? I am not sure. But I have been not sure before and then really, really enjoyed the way that the look has turned out. So I'm not going to completely write off the look before I've even done it. But could have maybe done with only one of these. And then something a little bit more mid-tone because like it's all dark. Apart from that mint and the shimmer. Maybe a halo. Round it out a little bit. Let's zoom in and come up with some sort of look. Okay, so I already have my eyeshadow primer on. It's the P. Louise one, and I am just going to start with the brushes that are still stained from my first impression of this palette. I only filmed that video. I mean, you saw that last week, but I only filmed that 2 days ago. So my brushes are still stained from that. We listen and we don't judge. Okay, so I'm starting with a very, very small, fluffy brush. And I'm going to start with the darkest shade, which was this one here, Submerged, which actually I think was the shade that I used on this brush the other day. And I think I'm going to do a halo, like this one, into the shimmer, this on the inner corner, potentially a little bit down the centre as well, and then this one under the eye because I don't know where else to put it. I don't know what else to do with it. So starting with Submerged, and I'm going to put that right on the outer corner and right on the inner corner as well. I would love to hear what would you do with this colour story. I mean, I love that shimmer, that purple shimmer, Oyster. So pretty. I don't necessarily feel like it goes with the blues, like the very dark navy blues, but we will make it work. So then when I've got a little bit less of that on the brush, I'm just going to tap over the top edge. These are very pigmented, so like I don't feel like I don't want it to take over. I need to be quite precise with where I'm putting the colours. So I'm going to take another of the same brush and I will go in with Jellyfish, the one with the little sprinkles of shimmer in. More of like a, less of like a navy and more of like an indigo sort of electric blue, much more of a bright blue, and I'm just going to layer that over the edge and bring that in a little bit. Could have just done with one of those shades, but that's fine. I would do that on both sides. I will also do that on the inner, little bit of colour as well, just up to the crease, not going past the crease necessarily. I will when I blend, but while I'm just laying that colour down, I want to be quite precise with it. So then again, when I've got less of that colour on the brush, I'm just really, really lightly, like I'm barely touching my skin at all, so lightly tickling over that top edge. I'm not really worried about on the lid because obviously that join is going to be covered up, but over the top edge I want that softened a little bit. Just going to build it up a bit more there. So I'm happy with how that is looking. I actually am thinking I might take a big fluffy brush. And when I say big, I don't mean huge. I mean just something sort of a regular size. And I might dip into that sea glass shade and put that above the crease. I don't ever know what I'm doing. I'm just dipping into that sea glass shade and then sort of tapping the brush off just on the handle of my mirror just to work the colour in a little bit. And let's use this above the crease a little bit to blend that blue out and add a bit of that pop of that pastel. Ooh, that's pretty. I feel like that was the right decision, but just going in lightly, very lightly. I feel like I maybe would have benefited from a slightly smaller brush, but we've done it now. It's fine. I quite like that. Okay, I need to blend. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that sea glass shade. Now I will just go back in with the smaller brush that I was using for those darker blues, and I will just make sure that that darkest colour is as intense as I would like it to be. I think that adding that mint above the crease is going to make all of the difference for me. I really like that mint up there. That's really pretty. And I feel like that makes it different from that first impression that I did, because otherwise, having a mint in a corner and a shimmer across the lid, it was just going to look the same. It's just going to look exactly the same from that first impression. That's not the point. We do these challenges, eyeshadow bingo, to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. And that is me telling myself that is why we do it. There we go. I think I'm happy. Are they the same? I mean, no. But how long do you keep blending for is the real question. So I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to go into that oyster shade, this third one that we picked, which was beautiful, and where the area is still empty down the middle of my eye and the eyeshadow primer is still a little tacky, this is going to stick to that and create the halo shape that we are looking for. Oh, that shade. That is so pretty. I love purples. I love purples. This one is incredible. So just tapping this on, and then I will go in with one of the smaller brushes just to tap over the edges, just to move the pigment about a little bit to blend it in rather than necessarily adding any more pigment. I am just going to take that up above the crease a little bit so that you can still see that beautiful purple pigment when my eyes are open. And then, like I said, just taking one of the smaller brushes, the one that I used for jellyfish, and tapping over the edges. No more colour on it, no more pigment, but just to move that oyster shade round a little bit to blend it in with those very dark blues, because obviously they're quite different shades. So you do have to be aware of that and blend them in a little bit. So I think that I am happy with the eyes. I'm going to go ahead, clean this up, do the rest of my face, and then we need to figure out how I'm going to use shark's eye. I think I might just smoke it out under the eye and then maybe add a little bit of that oyster underneath. I don't know, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. But clean up, rest of the face, be right back. Okay, so I have finished up the rest of my face there, and I think I want to take some of those darker colours onto the outer corner under the eye and then put that shimmer along the lower lash line. I don't usually like, on me, personal preference, don't usually like a shimmer under the eye, but honestly I just don't know where else to put it. So I'm going to just take one of those small brushes and go into, let's go into Submerged, the first shade, the one that was completely matte, and I'm going to add that onto the outer sort of third. I'm also going to just sort of round out the outer corner. I purposefully didn't like really sharpen up the outer corner because I wanted to round this out a tiny little bit. So really light hand, just tickling that onto the outer corner to create that little bit of a more rounded shape, like so. Happy with that. And then let's take, I want quite a dense small brush. Let's take this one, teeny tiny little brush, and I'm going into, what was it called? This one, Shark's Eye, and I'm just going to pick up, I don't know how well these are going to work with a brush, this shimmer, but I don't want too much and I don't want any fallout because that's terrifying. So I'm just going to run that along the lower lash line, which I find really scary. There's a lot of texture down there, you know? I don't want to emphasize it, but I need to put that shade somewhere. There we go. Very dark. very smoky. It's fine. It's fine. So then I'm just going to take that same little brush that I used in my first impression for that Sea Glass shade, and I'm just going to pack that right onto the inner corner. I'll blend that out a little bit into those darker shades, but like I feel like I need that brightness. Like this is very dark and smoky, which I like, don't get me wrong. I like a dark and smoky look, but I was perhaps thinking I would get, I don't know what I thought I would get, but this is a lot darker than I was maybe hoping today would be, but it's fine. It's fine. So I would just use a smaller brush just to tickle over the bottom edge of that Shark's Eye shade, just to soften that down. I feel like I've taken it a little bit too low. That's better. Yeah, you know what? You know what? I quite like how that's turned out. Much darker than what I would usually do. But that purple, like down the centre of the eyelid, is beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add liner and mascara, and then we will be done. So I am just taking a tiny little bit more of that Sea Glass shade and just joining it up along the lower lash line with that shimmer, and I think we're done. Apart from that big bit of glitter that I've just seen under my eye, that's not meant to be there, but I think we are done. I don't necessarily know how I feel about this. It's a lot darker and a lot smokier than what I usually used. Have I used every shade that we picked? Yes, technically, yes. Could I have done this with 3 shades rather than the 5? The purple, one of the blues, and the matte green in a corner? Also, yes, I feel like quite often in these eyeshadow palette bingo videos, I feel like I could just do without some of the shades, like they're so sort of redundant within the look. But you know what, I do quite like how this has turned out. That's the point. It's pushing me out of my comfort zone. I would never have picked these shades together, but I quite like how that's turned out. I would love to hear what you think as well. I am also going to be doing like 3 looks with, a video where I put together 3 looks with the Ocean Jewel palette. So if you want to see more looks with this, there will be more videos coming up, because like I say, I just find this colour story so inspiring. Like, just looking at this, I find it so inspiring. Like, all of the shimmers are just so beautiful and the mattes are such an incredible quality. I will be doing more looks with this, so subscribe if you want to see that. If you want to see the first impression video, I will have that linked down below. I will also leave Cole's channel linked, because like I say, we do these at the same time and then we come back and we assess. We see how each other have done. It's always good fun. I think Cole might win this one though. I've just got a feeling like I'm not necessarily feeling the vibe of my look. I think Cole would like this look though. She does a lot more dark smoky looks than I do. But let's wait and see. I am already looking forward to seeing what look she comes up with. And her first impression as I'm filming this, she has like literally only just received her palette. So let's wait and see. I'm looking forward to seeing all of her content. I will leave her channel link down below. Please go over and subscribe to her and support her channel. She's a sweetheart. She's one of my best friends on this silly little place that we call the internet, and I love her to bits. So go over, watch her channel, leave some love over there. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.